Is it a sign of global ascension? Let's dive into the truth about the Schumann resonance and separate the facts from the myths. By the time that we're done, you'll have a good basic understanding of what the Schumann resonance is, what it isn't, and how it can be a very important guide in understanding the processes of evolution as well as the processes of life here on planet Earth. A good question is, does the Schumann resonance spike when there is a surge of cosmic energy or higher consciousness affecting the earth fields as well as our collective fields? Absolutely yes, but more often than not, these spikes that you see on the Schumann graphs are mistaken, and they're really actually natural phenomena that plays out on the earth, and I'll explain what those are and explain the difference so that you can recognize what the differences are in just a second. But in any event, let's dive into the truth about the Schumann resonance, facts versus myths. So basically, there's faith-based and there's science-based. I'm drawing from both. I have certain sources that I do the science from. Stefan Burns, geophysicist, is the primary source. So is HeartMath Institute and other sites and other things that I read about the Schumann resonance. And I've been actually studying and working with this for several years now, and I've lost a few hairs, in the process. See, just seeing how people are misinterpreting it and jumping into conclusions. But in any event, I'm digressing a little bit. So firstly, what exactly is a Schumann resonance? That would be a good place to start, right? Well, it's an extremely low sublight, sub-sound frequency that permeates the entire planet, the atmosphere, and likely permeates the entire cosmos as well. It's such a low frequency, and the frequency is just the space in between wavelengths. All energy moves in waves, and it's the oscillation of circles propagating is what creates, or at least that's how energy movement manifests here on Earth. And it's such a low frequency that its frequency rate is about 40,000 kilometers, which is the same as the circumference of the Earth. Coincidence? I think not. Well, at least the first mode of the Schumann resonance at 7.83 hertz or 8. Anyway, 7.83 is right. Okay. I'm a little disorganized because I don't have a lot of time to shoot this video, so I've got notes all over the place, so excuse me for that. But anyway, I think you get the idea. And basically, it's so, to repeat myself, it's a very low hum. It's like a vibrational hum. It's sub-sound, sub-light, and it seems to power everything, or it's a continuous flow of energy that we all feed on in this collective reality, in this 3D reality. So guides the movement and evolution on our planet, resonates in both frequency and patterns to our brain waves. And I first learned about this on Stefan Burns' channel, did some research, and I don't question him, but I like to get things from multiple sources. And it's really amazing in both the amplitude or the strength of the energy as well as the frequency resonates perfectly with our brainwave patterns. And of course, we have different brainwave patterns depending on what state that we're in, but there's also different modes of the Schumann resonance that corresponds to those. It's also is a flow that connects all things, basically, possibly a power source, as it were. Could it be a manifestation of God, spirit, or source? Absolutely. It could. It very well could be and probably is. Could it also be the power source that drives the matrix? Or if you believe in the matrix theory, and that is that we live in a simulation, could the Schumann resonance be that power source that drives that matrix? Or Maya or illusion, if you look at it that way, or 3D reality. I think it's pretty much saying the same thing, so I have it all written down here. Energy fields that connects all life and processes on Earth, that guides movement and evolution of our planet, resonates with brainwave frequencies in both wavelength and intensity. Could it be a manifestation of God, divine consciousness, the power source of the entire matrix? And we see effects on our DNA, on our heart rhythms, on our biorhythms, and behaviors of animals, cycles of animal behavior, so forth and so on. It just, the correspondences and the lists go on and on. And basically, part of the face-based part of this is there seems to be some correlation between stronger Schumann spikes and spikes in human consciousness also, that we're observing that more and more. Many also are very sensitive when there's higher Schumann resonances, that people get ascension type symptoms, maybe insomnia, getting dizzy spells, other symptoms in the body. So somehow, or sometimes people have physical reactions to the different spikes or whatever. So in any event, what else? Some of the myths include mistaking local conditions around the place where the Schumann resonance is measured. We get a lot of our graphs from Tomsk in Siberia, in Russia, for example. So that's some of the myths. It's, there could be a thunderstorm or some activity that creates a huge spike, and people think, wow, there's an ascension wave coming, but it's just a local condition. What you'd want to do is check out different stations. There's one in Italy. There's in different parts of the world and if you're seeing reflective spikes in all stations and not just one, then you know it's something a little bit more global. It could be geological, it could be solar activity, it could be space weather, novas, supernovas, things that we don't understand, but I'm going to dive into a little bit more detail anyway. Variance of each mode happens. It's the amplitude rather than the frequency. So there's 7 major modes. I'm going to talk about them in a second. So hold that thought. So learning how to read Schumann graphs are important in discerning myth from fact. So I will show you the graph. Well, I'll show you if you promise not to laugh at me. Okay? Promise? All right. All right. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, because this is from Tomsk, Russia. This was taking a couple of hours to go. Okay, I promise when I get some free time, I'll learn more about the technology. But anyway, I think for today, this will suffice. So let me show you a couple things. One, we have, this is like the time, like this is the hours. This is about 48 hours. Here where there's less activity, you can see the modes pretty clearly. Mode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are very faint. You may be able to see, let me check. Here you can actually see some sub-modes, basically, that may be even lower frequencies. And you can't really see in this graph, but there's also some, there's modes above 7 too. And one of my theories is that each mode pertain to our different chakras, that the base mode is our root, and then the upper ones correspond to the different chakras, but we also have non-physical chakras above and below the 7 major chakras. So anyway, moving right along, the colors, like blue color would be the lower magnitude, then it goes from greens to reds to yellows, and then to white's the highest magnitude. So we see a big spike here that lasts about, 6, 7, 8 hours. Then we see some smaller spikes. I'm usually more interested in the more subtle ones. Then we see some interesting spikes over here. Now, what are some of the things that can affect? Firstly, a couple things I want to mention. Mode 1, which would be this guy right up here, that averages at 7.83 hertz. Mode 2, right below that, that's 14.1. So about 70% of the power of the Schumann resonance is in mode 1, maybe about 15%. And then as you go up, there's less. 3 is about 20.4, 4 is 26.4, and they vary somewhat. 5 is 32.4, 6 is 39, 7, 45. And these are all measured in hertz, basically. And things that can affect, let me see if I can find this in my notes so they give you everything here. You want to look at things that can affect the Schumann frequency. I know I've got these in my notes somewhere. All right. If not, I have that in my brain well enough. So things that affect that lightning. Now it's an electromagnetic pulse. It's an electromagnetic hum. So lightning affects the Schumann resonances quite a bit. Basically, um, geological activity. Sometimes there's spikes before or after earthquakes or volcanoes. These are huge energetic releases that affect the amplitude or the strength of the Schumann resonance. Solar activities like flares, CME, coronal holes also will affect the Schumann resonance on Earth and create spikes or perturbations like that. There's a few other things that I may not be mentioning, and maybe later in my notes, but there's also unknowns. There's mysteries, so there's cosmic forces that we're not yet aware of that probably is affecting it. Things that are happening within collective consciousness, within the collective fields. Now, again, I was talking about discerning the different levels here. Now, I'm going to draw your attention to here because I'm seeing, spike, then here the spikes go all the way down off the graph, down here, then it breaks. So I checked the conditions at Tomsk, and there's definitely some thunderstorm activity around when these measurements were taken. So it's very likely that these are not like global phenomena or anything to do with ascension, but rather local conditions. This one, however, catches my eye because it's about 7 or 8 hours long. It's very consistent, and the local conditions that I found there was some weather, but there was also some fair weather. So I was not seeing a direct correlation between weather, and to my knowledge, there's been no major solar flares, around that time, no major geological activity other than what's happening. So this could very possibly be like an influx of spiritual energy that's affecting the Earth, and this would be going back about 2 days. So this is scheduled to air the day after I'm filming this. So think about 3 days if you had any interesting experiences or anything like that. So hopefully I didn't tilt this so much so you could see everything. But again, the different modes, different spikes, and this little one gets my attention also. This little spike that goes up gets my attention because these could be, again, changes in vibrational frequencies affecting the Earth, more subtle ones. And there's a few other little things. So it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of research to really learn how to read these graphs. So once you do, you can gain a lot of insight into a lot of different things. You'll probably thank me for this. I'm going to put this down for now. So anyway, so Schumann frequencies are higher when there is cosmic energy. So that's some of the myths, but sometimes it's fact. Variance in each mode, amplitudes, the frequencies at height and under vibrations affecting the Earth. All right, so we've kind of covered that basically, and I just want to look through these notes. So we talked about the different modes, okay, basically the different wavelengths, very good. So here's where we go. So lightning, geology, space weather, solar activity. The Schumann resonances tend to relax a little bit at night. Now, the thing with thunderstorms is that they create, they affect the global electrical circuit. Space weather, like CMEs, they affect the ionosphere. They create more plasma, more ions in the upper atmosphere. These tend to precipitate down to the Earth and affect the Earth fields, basically. There's on the planet, there's 50 lightning strikes on average every second. So it's always getting charged. But the question is, do the lightning strikes feed the Schumann resonance, or is it in reverse? See, there's still a lot to know about that. And the stronger lightning strike, there's things that are called sprites, red flashes that actually shoot up into the stratosphere. So we get a lot of stratospheric and up into the ionosphere and magnetosphere, and that affects things on Earth. So it's a complete global circuit, basically. And the way that they get the measurements is that they use sensors and to measure the electrical potentials at different levels of the atmosphere. And I have that written down somewhere also. Let me go back in my notes. So maybe I have a few other things written down here. Maybe not. I think it's in this pile here. All right. Excuse me. Like I said, I just have very little time to do this. So anyway, it's worth looking into this. The lower frequency of light, sun interacts with radiation belts while precipitating into the ionosphere, driving global electrical circuits, including lightning. Connects Schumann resonance with you can connect with the Schumann resonance just by doing some meditation with the earth, doing some ohms. Walking barefoot really helps you to connect because it affects our biorhythms of everything. The Schumann resonances will change during solar maximum, which we're coming off of a solar maximum right now. So we're still in that, versus the minimum. And the heart and nervous system and the cells are affected by the changes of that. So there's all resonance with the Schumann changes. Affect heart rhythms. And it also affects proteins. So it's very, very interesting stuff. And the DNA is very conductive due to its structure also, the electrons, etc. So 99% of the molecules in our body are water. So the electrical currents, interact with water also. We're also calcium. We're very calcium-based, carbon-based too. So this is how the Schumann resonance also scientifically affects the body more. So water affected by Schumann, like consciousness, we know through the water experiments that different emotional frequencies will affect water crystals, thanks to Dr. Emoto. So that's worth noting that we're mostly water, and the Schumann affects the water basically as well. So what else? So we know water holds information, molecular structures with other water molecules, has infinite variety. And we know our emotional frequency changes it through the crystal water experiments. Calcium also very important in the body, electricity of the body, all function organs, very resonant with the Schumann. Part of the larger resonance systems of the Earth show that we are in constant communication with the Earth through this resonance, and as well as the cosmos. So we subconsciously are in constant communication with the Earth, and changes in the Schumann resonance is part of the way that the Earth communicates with us and the way that we communicate with it, as well as with the cosmos, basically, and vice versa. So it just shows that the Earth has innate intelligence, that it's alive, it has a heartbeat, it has a resonance, it has a rhythm, like everything else in the known universe. It's possible Schumann is coherent with our consciousness and can be a transmitter of information from the cosmos as well. And Schumann, it's measured through the vertical electrical field. So where do I have more notes about that? I don't. Okay. And the Schumann diminishes at night. But anyway, I think that you guys get the idea, right? So going back into this page here. So in conclusion, there's still a lot to learn, but as we get more information about the Schumann, better measurements and more detail, as well as other measurements that we may not be aware of, because subtle energies can't necessarily be measured with our relatively crude measuring devices that we have through science. More of the mysteries will unlock about the origins of the Earth. And another thought that just came to me is, what if the Schumann resonance really is like the Matrix, right? Like the power source of the Matrix. We know that there's been discoveries under the pyramid of Giza, a power plant that remote viewers and mystics have known about for a long time. Maybe this is really like something that's set up, that we're in a simulation and that powers it, or a spiritual one. But anyway, other measurements will teach us how energy moves through the universe and how the interplay of cosmic energies and divine consciousness really work, and will unlock many of the mysteries of the universe, basically. So recently there's been a lot of spikes in the Schumann, and there's been enhanced geology. There's been changes in the political and social structures here on Earth. And and it's bringing on like global ascension and changes in consciousness, and it's going to bring on changes in the earth. So I have a video over here talking about the next few months and what's likely to happen in the psychic forecast, so you can check that out here, and I'll post a spiritual channeling and an activation for you over here, and perhaps in a future video we'll do a meditation together on syncing in with the Schumann resonances. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Love you. Hopefully that makes sense, and we'll see you at the next